Just checking in. How? I mean, it's been 3 games, a bunch of practices. How comfortable already are you with Baines?
Pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable. That stuff it doesn't take too long to get familiar, but I think the to get it where we need to be, that's going to take some time. It's going to take some games. Game speed, game reps, game officials. So that's going to be a process that's going throughout the year. But I think for the meantime, that's what most of the bigs I play with felt like. I've known them before, played with them before, just because I've been watching them and playing against them for the last 4 years. So I'm pretty comfortable with them. We just got to keep repping out and finding spots.
And what's it like having that guy setting screens for you?
Yeah, he's a monster out there, and I tell people the biggest thing is just I know from playing against him is not the ones he hits you with, it's the ones now you're looking for him. So it only takes him one time to hit you before you start looking around and seeing where he's at, and that makes all the difference as well when guys know they gotta either go around him one way or another.
Got it. Thanks, Fred.
Thanks, Mike. If you have a question for Fred, please go ahead and raise your hand. I know we just started right on time today, so Fred, we have a couple people just joining. Just bear with us for 1 sec. We'll go to Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Hello, Fred. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Doug?
I'm all right, thank you. Hey, what do you think this team will? Do you think it'll be different than last year, the same as last year? And how do you think fans will notice any change in this team?
I think it'll be a lot different. I think I mean, just plainly speaking, there's a lot of different guys that are going to be playing, and big, Serge and Mark were very big pieces of what we did over the last few years. Certainly big parts of the championship team, and last year even more. So those two guys were such a huge piece of what we did. And I don't think that we have to necessarily replace them, but I think just the dynamic would be different, and the way we play might look a little different. But we haven't changed our expectations at all. We feel just as good about this team as we felt last year. It's just going to look different. The journey is going to be different. There are going to be different bumps and bruises along the way, and we understand that. So just taking a look at the bigger picture, and understanding what our end goal is, and knowing that there's going to be times when it won't feel so smooth, and we won't be on autopilot as much, maybe is the right word I'm looking for, as we were the last 2 years.
Yeah. Autopilot's probably the right word. Yeah. I know Miami is a different kind of defensive team, but you guys got up, I think, 57 three-pointers the other night, which seems to be an awful lot. Is that too many, or is that how the team's going to have to score a lot of points?
Um, that's not my job to say what's too many. I think that's a question for Nick. I'm just out there on the floor, and I think that that's one thing that Miami gives up is three. So we knew that going into the game. Most of them were good, a couple questionable ones, but it's preseason, so I don't put too much into account there. But I will have to find that sweet spot. I think that threes will definitely be a big part of what we do, as it has been the last few years. But it'll take some time, and throughout the year we play different. I know there's phases where we get up a lot, and there's phases where we don't. So just finding the sweet spot and that balance. But once you ask Nick, let me know what he says, so I can know how to play.
He's gonna say you can get up 15 a night. He's okay with that.
Hey, that's perfect.
Thanks, Fred. Appreciate the time as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dougie. We'll go to Josh next.
Hey, Fred. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. A few years ago, 10 years ago, the idea of playing with 2 point guards as much as you guys did last year would have seemed unusual, let alone rotating 3 point guards as you guys will likely do this year. But obviously things have changed quite a bit around the league over the last few years. You guys and the way you've played, your success doing it has had a lot to do with that. How have you seen in your time in the league the NBA evolve in terms of multiple point guards on the floor at one time?
Yeah, it's completely changed. I think that me coming into the league, I saw that as a big factor. When even just deciding to take a chance and try to make the Raptors team, I knew that Case played Kyle and Corey, and there's a lot of teams that don't do that. And I think that just learning under Kyle and being able to play on the floor with him over the last few years has changed the way the league looks. I think obviously, if you go back a little further, Steph and the Warriors and just the way that their three changed the dynamic of what people think of when they think about basketball and guards. Kind of changed the floor a little bit and what the floor looks like. So, yeah, I think something that me and Kyle have done over the last 2 years, especially even 3 years, I think has definitely made an impact on people's minds and saying, okay, look at those two guys. If we can try to come close to what they're doing, then we'll be in good shape. So it's opening some doors, and it's something that makes me happy because it gives a lot of guys that are like myself more chances.
At the same time, teams can try and emulate that all they want, but you need a certain type of point guard or certain types of point guards to be able to pull that off. What is it about you and Kyle, and now what is it about Malachi that allows you guys to be able to do that so successfully, do you think?
I don't know. I had an idea, but I'm not going to tell you. But I'm going to keep that secret sauce to ourselves. And, we still got to sprinkle Malachi out in there and game reps. So hopefully we can add him to that group. But he still got to earn that prestige that me and Kyle got.
Gotcha. Thanks, Fred.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go to Steven from Sportsnet.
Hey, Fred. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned how you think this will be inherently a different kind of team, a different kind of season, just because of the new personnel. But does that necessarily change, I guess, the identity of this Raptors team that you guys have kind of put together here over the last 4 or 5 years?
No, not at all. I think I spoke on this last time. Just like our foundation haven't changed, the things we believe in haven't changed, our expectations haven't changed. We still got our core. We still got this, the same head coach. Like, those things aren't going to change. And I think the biggest thing that should help us is that we've been pretty flexible over the last few years. And I think this year we're going to have to use that flexibility and kind of fold it into whatever we end up turning into. But that may take some time to figure out what exactly that is. And I think that we've been finding that throughout training camp and just deciding what kind of team we're going to be. And we won't have to search for it, so to speak, but I think we'll see what works and what doesn't in terms of just a flow and a rhythm and a chemistry. And, I'm excited about that challenge of just trying to figure out what that is.
And it's kind of felt like the season has just come upon us again, just very, very quickly, like we're very truncated off season, obviously shorter training camp, preseason. Does that help, like a kind of a veteran player like you? Like you don't really need the prep work. You can just kind of get into it.
We'll find out on Wednesday. We'll find out on Wednesday. I don't know. I think a lot of these things that we're going through, we won't know the effects of until later. But all in all, I feel pretty good. I'm healthy and I'm in good shape, and I put a ton of work in this offseason. So feeling good about this season, and I feel good about this team. So I definitely have a positive attitude going into it, but I don't have any predictions for you. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like on Wednesday.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Fred.
Thanks, Stephen. We'll go to Ed from the Tampa Bay Times.
Hi, Fred. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, you guys have been in your new practice facility for probably about a week now or so. What are your impressions of it? What stands out about it? Does it feel as much as possible as the OVO Center can, given the situation, the circumstances?
Yeah, they did a great job. They did a great job with the facility. I think that it's kind of, for us, it's a mixture of what we have in Toronto and what we experienced in the bubble. So we kind of got brainwashed into practicing in ballrooms in the bubble, and it became normal for us. So this doesn't feel all that different, but it's nice to see all of our Raptor stuff in here. So they did a great job. It's little things that we don't have that we do, back home at the OVO Center. So, but the people who put this together did a great job. So I'm not going to talk about the bad stuff, but all in all, it's pretty good. We're happy, and we got a nice home, and we got a great place to practice every day.
And Fred, obviously, Friday's probably like the first time, or the preseason, the first time you guys are out of the bubble, right? I mean, in a post-COVID bubble kind of environment? I mean, does everything feel right? Does it feel safe? All the protocols and everything like that? You feel that all that's pretty steady?
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job. I think there's a lot of rules and a lot of inconsistencies, but it comes with the territory. I understand what goes into making this thing work, and I think it's just a lot of onus on the individual, which is good and bad at the same time because it's getting to the point now where if a guy tests positive or somebody is contracted COVID, then they get a negative connotation with that. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. But other than that, I think that everything's in place to ensure that we can be as safe as possible. But it's just weird to follow all these rules and then go out for the preseason game with a bunch of fans in the stands. So that was a little weird being back in front of fans for the first time in a while. But I think we'll all get used to the weirdness of this year pretty quickly.
Gotcha. Thanks, Fred. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed. We'll wrap up today with William Liu from Yahoo Sports Canada.
Hey, Fred. I wanted to ask you about Pascal. How has he looked to you throughout training camp, throughout preseason? Do you notice any changes, anything different out of his approach, anything like that?
Nah, he looks good. He looks like P. He looks good. I was just talking about this to somebody yesterday. I think just the lens that people view him in has changed. So that may take some work for him to get that back. But he looks just like his old self. And I think depending on what kind of glasses you got on when you're watching him, you'll see what you want to see. But for me, at least, I think that he looks like himself. And I said it the other day, I'm excited about, the year that he's going to have. And he's going to be a big key for us this year and obviously a big part of what we do. So we're all excited and, we got his back and just ready to get out there and get it going.
Now, you mentioned that sort of like, expectations change, the lenses change. I mean, I think some of that's also applicable to you as well, right? Especially, now you're back with the contract and everything like that. You've raised the bar for yourself. Did you ever speak to Pascal about sort of that adjustment in terms of like, when you're surprised, when you're coming up, everyone's like, this guy's fantastic, this is amazing. And then when it's expected of you, then all of a sudden the criticism comes. Do you guys ever talk about how to handle that criticism?
Yeah, but not to that extent, just because I didn't get the max contract and I'm not looked at as a number one guy. So people in my life, I've dealt with it my entire life. They always look at me as an overachiever. I'm not sure if Pascal's getting that benefit of the doubt anytime soon. So it's just a different dynamic. So, but we definitely talk about, the ups and the downs and the public perception and people's opinions and how quickly they change and you go from being a favorite to the hated and, that whole thing. We've been through that convo a million times. But for me, I just keep trying to pump him with more confidence and just let him know that I'm in his corner. I got his back. And I think that if you take the social media aspect out of it and you just focus on yourself and your game and your work, and you'll find yourself in a good spot and go out there and be the best version that you can be and let everything else fall where it should fall. And you'll be able to sleep at night, and that's all that matters.
Word. And then if I could sneak one in, just want to ask you about what your personal goals are for the season for yourself.
Just win a championship.
All right. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Sorry, Fred. We've got one more quick one for you from Michael Grange.
Hi, Fred. Not much. How important is it to learn, or how much do you learn as a pro year by year about what it takes to prepare for a season, like managing your off season, building people, connecting with people around you that can help you get better, identifying, how to manage that process. Is that a kind of a skill that we don't really understand or see?
Yeah, it's a constantly changing thing where you have to keep adapting, and like my plan last year couldn't be my plan this year. My plan my rookie year can't be my plan next year. Like you have to keep your base and your foundation and kind of your list of things you believe in. And, there's only so much adjusting you could do outside of that, but then you have to adapt to the time and where your body is, you know, what the season calls for, what your role calls for. So, and I was just laughing with Kyle this morning before practice. Like when I first came in the league, some of the things he did, I couldn't really understand it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't in the space to understand why he did certain things on the court, off the court, at practice, outside of practice, at the games. And then, now I'm like, I see, I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to understand some of the stuff that he does, and so it's like a ticking time bomb, you know, that you're fighting against as you continue to get older, as you continue to, you're trying to get better, and your body is going the other way. You know what I mean? So you got to keep being creative, and keep finding new ways to get better, and that's the fun part about it, but that's the challenging part about it.
Is it part of a skill too to find people you can trust? That, I mean, you're already sort of at a super high peak level, so you can't just listen to anybody, right? And I'm sure there's a million people who want to try and tell you stuff.
Absolutely. And the hardest part is there's a lot of people that know what they're doing, but they all have their own specialties in different areas. And so I might find a really good PT that specializes with baseball players, and I might like what they do, but they might not serve my body and what I need to do. It doesn't mean that person doesn't know what they're talking about. It just might not apply to me. So that's the hard part when you try to go outside the team and start looking for your own work in certain areas. But I've been blessed with a good team behind me and people that have kind of locked into what it is that I need. And I'm very picky, and I'm very deliberate about who I allow to work with me and work on my body.